Welcome back to CECC 2022. We are here at your desk to serve you with delicious information and updates on the tournament. The first update being that we're about to go into our lower bracket final for Rocket League. This is going to be Stockton versus the University of Central Florida.
Yep.
We want predictions. We want them fast and we want them concise.
Rematch to the semifinals. Stockton has shown weakness, but I think their offense is going to be too much. I'm going with Stockton.
You think so?
Yeah.
Sometimes the best defense is a good offense, right? And that's necessarily what I think is the case with Stockton as well. Especially like it being in the losers bracket, like there's like a lot of things that like are going through people's heads, right? And this is where you really start to see players shine, is when they're forced into a corner. And that's exactly what losers bracket is, right? It's like you get another chance or you're out. And I think that's really, really important.
I like Stockton coming into this tournament to begin with, actually. They just intrigued me in the qualifying videos that I watched. But UCF is kind of on that hot streak. Even though they just came off a loss, they're still pretty hot. The #1 seed, they took 2 games off of them. So they're feeling pretty good, I would assume, even though they lost. You know, it's a weird thing to like say that you feel good even though you lost, right? Because there's still that chance. They have that fallback plan of, okay, we lost that, we can kind of, you know, let's go get some water, stay hydrated, maybe some control, whatever, rub some Barbasol on your face or something, I don't know, whatever you got to do.
I don't think that's what it's for.
Eat some Cajun food. That worked for Gig, right? Or that worked for someone yesterday. I don't remember. It was a long day yesterday. But just kind of regroup, recollect yourself, clear the mental as fast as possible, and then go into this and say, okay, we play better when it's closer. Let's keep it close. Or let's just, like you said, have a great offense that will back up our defense, because we won't have to play defense that much because we're just scoring.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to come down to, you know, Stockton has had a long rest, but University of Central Florida is warmed up and mad, hopefully, after that last loss. So what would you say to either of these teams if they were asking, what do I have to do to come out victorious here?
Like Central Florida, I think they understand that they have a surefire defense, but again, they got to find a way to break out. Don't be afraid to be patient when you're under that much pressure and you're being boost denied. If you just sit behind it, you force a challenge. You don't have to clear the ball away every time, because by just pushing it downfield, it's going to come right back. Sit behind it, force some 50-50s, win some challenges, and it'll allow them to kind of maintain possession of the game as well as control the pace of the game, which will help with these high-flying offenses. For Stockton, keep doing what you're doing. I mean, to put it in their resume into perspective, 3rd place in CRL National 2022 champions, 2nd place in CRL East 2022 ECAC HV Gamercom champions, CRL 4th place. They've got CRL Summer Series 3rd place. They are a stacked lineup. Their only difficulty is beating the top tier. The 1-2 they have struggles with. Everybody else they usually dominate. There's no reason not to do it here.
You guys want to add to that? I mean, it's pretty good. You can just say samesies.
Yes, correct. Everything he said.
hit ball good, you know.
Hit ball good, do well. He's spitting. So I'm going to just let him do his thing.
Listen,
Hey man, you had us in Smash. We all got our expertise, man.
that's what I'm saying. It's like, you know, Rocket League, Smash, Overwatch, and then all of us are like Valorant together at the end. We all use our teamwork. So I yield my time to Lawler. That's the man. Again, I'm just happy to be here right now in Rocket League with him.
I want to zoom in on a couple players.
Go.
First, let's look at Bussy for Stockton. Let's take a look at this player.
Yes.
Anything that you all know about Bussy, what comes to mind right away?
I like that name.
I know.
Bussin'.
That's not.
Let's see what's bussin' with Bussy. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean that's interesting to be somebody that's still like young, you know, and moving in through these collegiate leagues. That's one of like the weirdest things it is that like I've seen, right? Is that like people typically are drafted, just like Lawler said earlier, like at 15. Ooh, the kiss to the audience.
The love today.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, like it's like at 15 people get like scouted and put onto teams at a very, very young age. And I think what's so interesting about that is that typically the weirdest part is that I've heard like once you hit your 20s, like that's pretty much it, right? Like they're gonna move on and find somebody else. And it's good to be able to see someone that's still like in a collegiate league putting in the work where necessary.
Let's take a look at University of Central Florida. Let's zoom in on Bits. Anything that you all have to say about Bits?
Yeah, so I obviously made a lot of mentions about Luke and Esfer, both obviously more popular figures. Luke's a former pro player, this and that, and still competing at a high level. But Bits is the one that didn't get enough credit. He's actually kind of the backbone of the team. I have a really soft spot for players that kind of do the intangibles really well. People that are just kind of right place, right time. They don't hit the high flashy stuff, but they're always in the right spot and they propel their team to success. Bits embodies that. He's always there, right spot on defense. He's always there to clear the ball. He's always there in the right position to help out. So someone that you can rely on, which is a really big deal to have that, especially when you're dropping into a lower bracket after a tough loss.
Well, we get to watch them play very, very soon because our casters are ready to take us into the game. Hello.
Hey.
Hola.
Hey guys.
How's it going?
Not too bad. Pretty good. Excited
we're
for some
doing
more
good,
Rocket
too.
League.
We'll play
Yeah.
later. It's fine.
Having a good
Coming
day?
up.
Great. All right, go ahead. Have fun.
Appreciate it. All right, here we go. We got the lower bracket final, and we've got a rematch here. We've seen these two teams play many times before. We talked about this. UCF already taking Stockton down here in this bracket, but they met before this bracket. They've met in many other events, many other times, so this is going to be big for UCF. A chance to not only redeem themselves, but prove it wasn't a fluke the first time. They can do it again.
Yeah, and I really like what the desk is saying about everything that UCF has going into this game, right? Just take the time to regroup, recollect. You know, we mentioned it in the last series. It's not just a 60-second turnaround. You have the opportunity to regain your composure, talk out the strategy, find a way to get off of that defensive stance that they were in for the entire time. I mean, just find a way, instead of just sending a Hail Mary downfield. Lawler mentioned it before break, just they have the efficiency, right? They have a way to go in transition and get an attack and get a shot, but then after that, it's just 3 more minutes of defense.
Well, we got 5 minutes on the clock instead here, not 3 minutes, and let's see if we can find ourselves a different result than the last time. Can UCF redeem themselves? They can do it pretty early. I guess one thing hasn't changed, Trev. UCF's still getting early goals.
Getting the first goal, the player we just highlighted in bids, getting the backbone of UCF, getting the first goal, and once again striking first. They did this against Northwood, and this usually bodes very well for them when they're not playing from behind.
100%. And before we get too far into the action here, I did want to, sort of tail on to something the desk was talking about before.
Sure.
Hello to my mom. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers watching as well. I know my mom is watching this broadcast. I know my stepmom's watching as well, so hello to both of them, and happy Mother's Day to them both. I love you both, and I hope that you guys are enjoying the show thus far. And you, the audience, I hope the same. As we are getting underway here, it is an early goal for UCF, but Stockton looking to rebound.
Yeah, trying to find something to go the other way as Ferg trying to put a shot up, but will be caught across the top. Top Cheese is going to clear this one and take it to midfield. And good challenge here at midfield by Isfura again. Maintain possession on this side. And this is the change we wanted to see from UCF. Translate this ball to the offensive zone and make something happen.
Oh, they're still trying to make something happen here. They might have found that early breakaway goal, but usually the early goals don't mean a lot. It's usually the defense trying to posture itself, trying to figure out how they want to play, and I don't think they have. Oh, boy, I really don't think that they have. Luke finds the pass and slams it top left.
Just great little catch. Good challenge in the corner by Isfura, and they are coming out swinging, just using all the boost to get down in the faces of Stockton. And like you said, they faced off once prior here in this bracket, won that 2-1 series before sending Stockton down here. Stockton has had to fight to get to this position, and you know they want revenge, but UCF is just itching to get back and face off against Northwood.
From what I've heard, I know some of the Stockton players. I actually shout out to all 3 of them. They all follow me on Twitter, and I've had conversations with all of them on repeat here.
You
and
flexing?
basically, a little bit. Hey, listen, we can't just let them flex on the field. They got to flex here in the booth as well. And you know what? I'm going to flex the fact that Stockton truly believe that they don't. Not only do they not expect to be down here, they believe it was a fluke. They straight up think that no, they should not have lost. They believe that they basically just had, a rough game. Took them a little while to warm up, and then as soon as they got to the lower bracket, that is when they really started going crazy. The fact that they also take down what is, we talk Lanimals, Akron. Akron far and away was the team here that we thought had the most experience out of LAN, that would be the most composed, and they took them down. So Stockton's got a little bit to prove here. They want to show that they can not only get the revenge, but that they can really do it in style. And thus far, they haven't really been able to do much at all. 3 minutes left on the clock here. They've yet to get a goal in UCF. They've yet to really been flustered on the defense. Just look how composed they've been on this back line.
And doing a really good job here at making sure there's the difference between the last series and this one. Stockton on the other side would really like to break this trend that they've had of playing a full series. Everything that they've won so far has been the 2-1, the 2-1, the 2-1. Like, they just want to be able to end something before it happens, and Top Cheese might have the answers. We're going to get something back just shy of halfway point, sneaks it inside the post.
That's a great 50-50 from Drip as well. The fact that Top Cheese, though, can read that and recognize Asfura just doesn't have a touch. It's the patience, it's the accuracy. It's something that we've been asking for. Lethality when it comes to an offense. Not just sending shots randomly, not just throwing stuff against the backboard, but really putting it on target when it counts the most. And, well, they've done that right here just before halftime. But we now need to try and find another goal and really prevent another goal out of UCF here. If they are able to find a quick response, it's not going to be the dagger necessarily, but it's definitely going to take away any momentum that Stockton has been building here in game number 1.
Okay.
That's terrifying. I don't know why you would try that, but you know what? UCF, who am I to question? At least you're keeping yourself in the lead for now.
Just a sharp inhalation of, oh no, I didn't mean to hit the ball that way, but able to get out of that one without paying for that. And as Furr trying to take one down the way, tried to get some axles broken. The follow from Luke, but will be at least denied temporarily speaking. You see the possession going the other way. Now look for some moves. Top Cheese going to go try to catch into corners. This game has been rather explosive comparatively. And we're seeing a lot more demos, a lot more physicality.
It feels more confident. Waller was talking about this on the desk, and I think he's 100% right. Northwood were respecting their opponents too much, and then as the series continued on, UCF started over-respecting their opponents as well. It's why they were passive. We were hearing from one of our producers, apparently, the team got pretty quiet when it came to game number 5. No longer calming effectively, no longer really communicating, and so this is going to be the difference here. Both these teams are drilling this at target. They are continuing to dive at the ball with utmost confidence, and it's really giving us some explosive gameplay, and it's giving us goals like that. Bits to find the third and possibly the ender here for UCF versus Stockton in game 1.
Just a great read on the defense. Watching Drip and Top Cheese, neither one of them getting up in time, and seeing Luke at least just given enough of a nudge to help that one across if it needed to be there. Instead, Bits gets credit and gets the 3-1. That 2-goal lead, it's safe for now, but how long will it last?
Dude, it's Rocket League. Nothing's really ever said. Actually, I take that back. You know what? 6-0, 2 minutes remaining.
Okay,
I will say,
that
maybe.
yeah.
Just a little bit. I'll give it like a smidgen of, that's probably secure. And, my word, this should be secure as well. Luke cuts across the midfield and finds a fourth for UCF.
Picking up what could have been the hat trick there, but able to just get up in the air before the defense can get there, and this is what we're seeing. These last couple of goals, Stockton's just been a little slow off the ground, a little slow on the reaction, and instead giving the opportunities to UCF, who's finally found their offense.
Well, the big thing here is also UCF, they're going to be way warmer. They just played against the number one team in this entire bracket, so they're absolutely going to just be hitting shot after shot after shot after shot, whereas Stockton kind of got to take a second to get into this series, and they can't take too many seconds, though, and, well, if they take 50 seconds here, they'll take a loss in game number 1, but the good thing, it's a best of 5. We still got a lot of time to play here. We're no longer in best of 3s, and I think for Stockton, that's going to be a huge relief, because the last time they did lose to UCF, it was 2-1. You go 2-1 in this? Okay, cool. Let's play game number 4, and let's play a 5th goal into the back of the net here, as Furrow finds himself another one, and now I will say it, UCF will find game number 1.
Yeah, just a little overcommit the demo there at midfield just to guarantee there's no chance the defense is going to get back in time. So that 5th goal, 35 seconds to go. 4-goal lead here at this point. UCF more than likely, barring I don't even know what. There's no way, but
I just don't think
it'd be pretty cool if it would.
I mean, it'd be cool, but it's basically, so the way that it works in Rocket League, for, again, those that are unfamiliar, you do need a little bit of time to get to the goal here. The kickoffs are going to take a couple of seconds, and so unless you're basically getting kickoff after kickoff after kickoff after kickoff, there's no way Stockton are taking this one. And at this point, it's mathematically impossible. 20 seconds left on the clock here. At this point, Stockton, they're just counting down the seconds so they get to game number 2, and that game number 2, they need a response here. It's not just that UCF won this first game, I'd say this is domination.
Yeah, this is really sending their message, and we talked about it in the last series. Game 1's about, kind of getting a feel for how the series is going to go. As you mentioned, UCF already going to be warm going into this one, and now this is the point where they should continue this momentum that they have built up here from the series against Northwood. As Blue is saying, don't feel bad about this. You took 2 games off the number 1 seed, straight into this series, and this is right where they left off, facing off against Northwood.
They find themselves in a pretty good position here, but again, the job is not done yet. We found this last series there. UCF were able to take the second 2 games of the series. They had a 2-1 lead on the series overall, and then the final couple games. We'll leave it here. We don't need to rub it in there. No salt in the wound.
Just watch the VOD. It's there.
It's fine. You guys can look back on it. But actually, though, it's a big start for UCF, but the job is not done. They want a rematch against Northwood in that upper bracket. They got to keep on trucking like this. And as you can see from the replays brought to you by Microsoft and CDW, this was a decently back and forth game at first. And then I don't really know what happened, but UCF, I'm glad that it did. Y'all looked incredible.
Yeah, they were able to find these passing lanes and just get the reads and communications that they needed. We saw a little bit of those miscommunications there in the Northwood series where they weren't quite on the same page. Didn't really know exactly what was going to be the right way, the right pass to make before they were, just falling apart in that possession. Instead, they find themselves able to find those passing lanes, able to set each other up, get those goals scored, and move on, and they're going to pick up again, first goal, game number 2.
I feel like I missed something. I was like looking at the screen, trying to look down at my notes, looking at you, just like casually getting into game number 1. And UCF, nothing casual about this one. Top left bins, and all of a sudden they find themselves the first goal of the game. And Trevor, I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit nervous. If Stockton are finding themselves with the same sort of momentum against them here in game number 2, what's to say this doesn't happen in game number 3? And what's to say that UCF don't just run away with the series?
This is UCF just really coming back with the vengeance after that Northwood series, and now trying to play it off against Stockton, who they know they can beat because they've already done it once here in this tournament yesterday. So they know for sure that this team is beatable by this very squad, and now they just have to continue to maintain this pressure, maintain this offense as they've got this 1-0 lead, and again find themselves in the offensive zone. Aerial carry, unfortunately, does not get too far.
That's a big miss on the ceiling there. Asfura with a chance to keep the offense alive, but instead I think Bussy with a good clear off the backboard is going to send this one skyward. And ooh, Topchi's going to send this one to a little bit of the corner there. The waterfall going to drip on down. And speaking of drip, Drip's going to try and put a shot on target. Asfura continues to be that brick wall on defense, finds himself another save, and possibly finds himself a counterattack as well. Drip, that's not the greatest touch. And Bussy and, oh boy, Bussy and Topchi's just kind of toppling over each other here. And all right, I don't really know what's going on. That's double commit after double commit after double commit. And UCF, I think they'll hold on to offensive possession here, but maybe let's take a second and, breathe, fellas.
Yeah, let's take a double by twice the amount and then rewind it, run it back, realize that these rotations not quite on, get back on the same page, set up the communications once more, and that goes both ways for both these squads that have had these minute double commits in this last 30, 45 seconds here, and see if Drip, Topchi's both going again. The double commits, it's just, something is just off with this Stockton squad.
It feels like it's nerves more than anything else here. We talked about that. When the nerves got against UCF, it wasn't like they were double committing constantly, but it was the lack of communication that really was the dagger for them in that last series. And I'm wondering if that's the same thing happening for Stockton right now, because look at this. Bussy by himself on the back end. Asfura is going to just be there to play nuisance ball, really annoy the defense. And then again, 2 players in the corner. It feels like Stockton right now are not communicating as effectively as they need to, and that could come back to bite them as Luke's got time in the air. Bussy will take this one off the backboard, try and stem the bleeding for now, but it does feel like Stockton, they really do need to be careful. If we see a second goal for UCF, it's not just going to turn the tide in their favor, it might just turn the series in their favor.
And this has gone really back and forth comparatively to the first game where it's just been a lot of back, but the commit on the defense, miss on that. Asfura will get the goal scored. Coming out of the box, could not get it to touch, and instead it finds the back of the net.
And this is what we talk about. It's the little things that separate teams. You make a mistake like that on the backboard, a team like UCF, who we even talked about, their pace of play is ridiculous. They're not going to miss that. Asfura's not going to miss that. He's got something to prove. He wants to show that he doesn't just talk on Twitter, he talks in game. He can talk his game all the time that he wants, and right now he is proving that. Although defense up against a little bit of a wall here, they'll find themselves some escape as Vitz is going to try and clear this out to midfield. Oh,
over the top.
Another miss from Stockton, and that's going to lead to a third goal.
I can't believe that managed to get by not one, not two, but all 3 players. Even Luke there to catch, realizing the defense is there. No need to put the nose on. Just let that one fly, touching nylon, and getting a 3-0 lead just past the halfway point. UCF is cruising.
Yeah, this is a bit of a scary place right now for Stockton. It's not just the fact that they find themselves down 3-0 here, but it's also the fact that they lose this game, they got a reverse sweep. And listen, reverse sweeps, they are possible. I've seen them in settings even more intense than this. But here's the thing. LAN, it's a different vibe. It brings out something. When the nerves go against you, they don't just go against you, they will cripple you. They will throw you under the bus, and it's going to be difficult to try and recover. So, UCF, you keep playing like this, you're going to throw Stockton into an absolute tizzy, shaking at the knees, and I think that they might just do so, because with 2 minutes remaining, Stockton seemingly getting more passive. Lads, I don't think that's how you change this one. You got to get in the face of UCF. Get them annoyed. Get them uncomfortable.
That was one of our keys to victory, was being assertive, especially if you find yourself down 3-0. Look for the play up the backboard, even with the demo. Can't get there in time. Bussy's at least going to be able to deflect it to the side. Asfura finds himself on the ball once more, but will get denied back to the other corner where Luke will receive. But this is, as you said, Stockton just kind of slowing down a little bit, has to find their answer as they got all 3 in the offensive half and still can't find a possession, can't find anything to go.
Oh, but maybe Luke can find something here. Not quite able to make the touch, but the offense is still going to be in favor of UCF. Touch out of the corner, though, not really going to work out. And as for doing what he does best, holding down that midfield and making it difficult for a quick transition. Maybe it was a bit too quick instead, as we have an own save from the team. I still don't know what to call that. I always say own save, but it doesn't even sound right. What I really should call that is a disaster.
Yeah, just the unfortunate timing there. That's what we're talking about with the physics-based game. You have to be able to not only deflect the ball at the right angle, right trajectory, right speed. You have to do yourself that too. Looking for some flip resets. Top Cheese will not let that highlight reel come through. as we've hit 45 seconds to play. Still the 3-0 lead here. Stockton's got to find an answer now.
Barring a miracle at this point, I don't think Stockton's going to find this. And again, we talk about it's not just the fact that they lose this game, it's the fact they get shut out. If they can find a goal for the road, that would be massive. But these shutouts can really get to the mental of a team, and especially a team like UCF, who are not just riding on momentum here, they're riding on revenge. They want that shot at Northwood. They saw the chance to not only go to the grand final with an upper bracket advantage, but they saw a chance to take down the big dog, something that almost no one has been able to do besides, in most recent memory, Siena Heights. So Siena's not here. UCF is, and UCF is up 2-0 on the series. 6 seconds left on the clock. At this point, it's just a formality. They're going to find themselves one game away from a rematch against Northwood in that upper bracket.
UCF taking game number 2 in this best of 5. Now just that, as you said, one game away to get themselves back up to the top where, yeah, it's an uphill battle to face off against, but they first have to finish this last game. I said in their series against Northwood, there's not enough super glue in the world to put them back together after that 6-0 decimation. Who would have thought the super glue was Stockton that's piecing them back together? The mental boom on one side from Stockton is rebuilding this confidence on the UCF squad.
And I got to give a shout out to my boy Laser. I know he's listening right now, and I know that he's also making sure the players listen to him as well. As we look back upon the replays here brought to you by Microsoft and CEDW, you can understand that this is a team that's not just composed because of the three of them. They've got a coach in their ear, and a good coach at that. Laser is unreal in comparison to many of the other teams here, or excuse me, coaches in Collegiate Rocket League. Yes, I may also be friends with him, so there may also be a little bit biased here, but you know, it's okay. We can have some bias on the desk here, and we can also admit the fact that it's not just the fact that there's bias. This is how Central Florida are playing right now. It's not just domination. This looks like they're just mad they even got here in the first place. They want their revenge and are basically saying, hey, Stockton, I'm sorry you had to get in the way of it.
Yeah, and we said from this perspective, Stockton is the team with the mentality of we should not be here. Why are we in the bottom side of this bracket?
Yeah.
This is where we should not be. We should have been the team that just played
They even
Northwood.
said that.
And instead, here we are with UCF going through that mentality of why are we in the bottom side of the bracket? We're the best team here. We're going to beat anybody. And granted, they lost the series to Northwood. They have their chance of redemption if they win this game. We hit game number 3 in the losers finals.
Well, let's see if they can try and turn this one around here. The unfortunate thing for Stockton is not just turning around this game, it's turning around the next 3 in a row. They drop a single game at this point, and unfortunately, that's the end of their tournament. They are not just going to find a lower bracket. They will find themselves 3rd place overall, which, again, not a bad position to be in. Out of 16 teams here to finish with 3rd and finish with a lot of money in your pocket, it would be a good thing. But at the same time, you know what's even better than 3rd place? 2nd place,
and
first place.
Yeah,
you know, a lot of other places in front of, actually not that many. It's literally 2 numbers. Yeah. Listen, caster math, no good. That's something you're going to realize about Rocket League is we're not very great at counting. It's why we've got a clock on the board here. It can literally show it in front of our screen, and I can count that many. That's a triple commit out of UCF.
Yeah.
Seems like the nerves might be back for this team.
Yeah, they just are making sure that defensive stronghold stands tall because they did not want to give up the first goal to Stockton. Every time UCF has scored first, they've done very well to go on to win the game, but now just trying to find their offensive rhythm that they picked up in game number 2. But now watching a lot of flips and rolls and commits on the defensive front here. Just nothing to come out of this one. Is going to jump all the way down and keeps it low. Luke gets the first goal.
All right, we have a phrase in Rocket League. If you want to try and give a player some credit, change their name a little bit. This ain't Luke, this is Woof. This man put in a dub on the board there and putting the first goal in. 3:43 left on the clock, and at this point, Central Florida, they might have just found themselves that spark of life again if the ignition is here and the fire has been set. Stockton, it's up to you to find the extinguisher.
It's certainly not the remix to Ignition because UCF has just been lit the whole time. They are just ready to go. And a minute 17 getting their first goal, finally finding that lead. Now they can just continue to do what they did and establish themselves, assert dominance here in this one. Look for those 50s. Try to find better, more methodical possessions, as Lawler was talking about on the desk coming into the series. That's exactly what they've done. That's why they find themselves in this position.
I really am impressed by the way that UCF have turned themselves around. It's not just the fact that they look like they're more accurate with their shots. It looks like their just offense has been built. They've recognized that these boomer balls, they are not going to work against pretty much any team at this bracket because, again, this is the upper echelon of Collegiate and Rocket League. All 3 of these teams are going to Worlds for CRL. They are going to one of the most prestigious events in history. And you want to talk about prestigious events for Rocket League, this is another one of them here. One of the biggest lands that we've had in Rocket League in a very long time. Rocket League actually didn't have lands for what feels like forever. It had been years since we've seen one. And now we find one where Central Florida find themselves with a chance to go up against Northwood without Bambi. I've got to reiterate this. And they not only have a good shot against them, I think they could actually win. It's a single game that separated them last time. This time, it's 2 games separating them. Stockton, unfortunately, find themselves down 1-0 here as we pass halftime. But again, it is only 1-0, so they do have a lot of chance to turn this around.
Yeah, something as simple as a quick mistake, a quick overcommit. We've seen UCF do it a couple times with the double commits and looking for the capitalization on said defensive error, looking for some more demos as well, maybe open up your own opportunities, but have yet to do so on the Stockton side. Instead, we find the ball here in the corner. UCF looking for an attack, looking for the challenge. We'll pass it off to Bussy. He's got a 2-on-1, but can't get anything to go. Luke will challenge, win that 50, and send it back to midfield.
Ooh, that's a good pass out to the side as well. Topshi's going to have to try and intercept this one, stop the offense for UCF, but he's not going to be able to do so because Bits is going to take him off the pitch entirely, sends him to the shadow realm, and, well, Topshi's will send this one to the backboard, though Bits, he might do the same. No way. As Furrow, redirect, but it will not be enough. Drip with a save on the line, and might just save the game here for Stockton.
You respect the drip when you make saves like that. Good Lord, coming out with that one. Almost getting a goal across there, but just couldn't get enough forward momentum to get the nose on to sneak that inside the upright. Instead, it goes the other way. Topchi's trying to hit it high, giving a chance for someone to play off the rebound. Instead, we'll go back to midfield here, and everyone got to take a breath, reset real quick, and get this attack going here for Stockton as they are now putting up some shots.
They're not just putting up shots, they're putting up pressure as well. They're really using this midfield to their advantage, but 1v2 technically. I thought it was a 1v1, then Asfura dives in out of nowhere, and that could be a problem because on the other end, they got a flip reset in the bag, but it's not on target. Drip will try another shot, but all he finds is a 50-50, and again, UCF, they've been winning these 50s all day long. It has Furrow backflips on the line. Stockton, they make the most of what is an unfortunate error for UCF.
There's just that slight little bump there in the back of the net where Bussy just gets in the way, cannot let the defense get to the boost pad and get back in front of the net. Just a small little disruption to create the opportunity and get the equalizer.
And that's all that's really going to be a game. Rocket League is a game of inches. You make a little mistake, it is going to be enough to allow an opening for a team like Stockton, like UCF, to take advantage. In my opinion, that's part of the reason why UCF had such a good series against Northwood. Northwood were making uncharacteristic mistakes, and when they did, UCF were quick enough to punish. But can they punish now? With 30 seconds left on the board, if they're able to get this game, they move on to that grand final, and they do so in a sweeping fashion. That is not just momentum in their favor. That is something else entirely, and that could have been exactly that. But 20 seconds left here, now it's a breakaway play. Bussy, he doesn't miss these, and he gets the double touch off the backboard. 17 seconds left in Stockton. They're looking to take us to a game number 4.
We call that clutch. Buss able to get across above the defense as Furrow can't get across in time to get the nose on to deflect it off the upright. Instead, the 2-1 lead here. UCF has to find something real quick in this next 10 seconds if they want to find anything to go. And not, we're going to game number 4. Furrow's got a good setup, though. Watch Bits coming in. Can't get that touch, but they're still on the right side of the field.
Oh, they've got the pressure, but they've only got 5 seconds. Luke gonna send this one center as Furrow misses the ball, and I think that's going to be that. That, unfortunately, is going to wait. How did they keep this up?
No.
Not going to be enough. Stockton will take their first game here of the series, and now they will make it a series, Trevor. We find ourselves with a 2-1 in favor of UCF, but guess what? We had a 2-1 in favor of UCF last time, and that didn't really work out that well. So let's see if they can change history. Can they find themselves a little bit of something else here in game number 4? And as we look back upon game number 3, brought to you by Microsoft and CDW, you can really see this is where Stockton started to step up and really put on the pressure.
And this is where I'm starting to wonder if Stockton has now hit the point where they are just as, if not more warm than UCF, because, they came in relatively cold. They didn't play North. They didn't have that luxury to play number 1 seed not very long ago. So now maybe they're at that point where they are warmed up. They are ready to go to match what UCF has put on the floor, and coming back with that, a couple of late clutch goals, able to get that final one, 17 ticks on the clock. I mean, that's exactly where Stockton wants to be, to know that not only can they score, they can beat this squad. As we go to game number 4, UCF trying to get back up to the top side. Stockton still fighting to stay alive.
They got to be careful here. I really do think that if UCF lose this game, they will most likely lose the series. And you cannot give up chances like that. A huge beat by Luke, but neither Bits nor Asper are quick enough to get to it. And we talked about this last time. This is what unfortunately sunk the ship here for UCF in their last series. When they started getting passive, they started getting outpaced by their opponents.
Yeah, you don't want the complacency to set in. Bits behind the ball at least enough to deflect off and not give an open opportunity, but you see the aggressiveness from Stockton is maintaining possession down here, and they're doing great to challenge and keep this pressure up as they see the shot on Drip. Will get denied there and send it back to the corner, and here comes the rotation one more time to keep this play alive.
They're forcing double commits out of UCF right now. It very is clear UCF are not nearly as confident as they were before. There's another double commit out of Bits and Luke, and no one going to go for the ball. Hey, fellas, if you want to try and win this, you kind of have to touch the ball. Remember what Fawn said? You know, no, good touch, bad touch, that type of stuff? Yeah, UCF, maybe take yourself a little bit of a chance here and find if you can get yourself a decent enough touch to clear it off the half. That might be the one, and is it going to work? Drip's going to try and dive. What happened? We were so calm and collected before. Now this is just chaos.
That is exactly what you would expect to a point. You know, for 10 seconds, chaos is going to ensue. Just let these teams get back on the same page. Let them take a breath and get out of whatever mentality that just was to just hit the ball. At least put some pressure on to hit ball good and put themselves in position. Bid's going to make this rotation around. You see Bussy able to get there in time at least to get a nose on, but they're still maintaining these shots on as they've reset, got some boost back, and tried to find the clearance out. Is first going to get one to miss and try to take it the other way. You see both of them with the demo. It's going to go up over the top. It's going to get the bump on the backboard as well, but Boost picked up. Not going to do much for now.
Oh! You got to hit this.
There's no way.
No! How do you miss that? Is the best fake we have seen all day. The defenders left without axles, but somehow through the scrap heap they will find the save. And as Furrow, he'll find another save. He's been doing this all day long. He'll find another one as Bussy tries to dive on this, but I am very nervous right now. It feels like UCF are not just getting passive, they are missing those golden opportunities that we said they were taking advantage of on repeat before this, not just the series, but in the previous two games. Now they're watching them fall by the wayside, and I don't know what to think.
Stockton in the first minute and a half had all those double commits where they had opportunities with the offensive side to put a shot on, get a goal scored. That was the one for UCF, the double commit, just a missed opportunity. You know that they are going to be kicking themselves for that because we remain scoreless past the halfway point here in game number 4. It's just waiting to see who's going to break first, who's going to find the advantage, and off the bounce, that's going to go a little wide of the upright. Luke take possession in the corner to send it back, and a good challenge by Drip. We'll see who's going to get to it first and try to find something on. Top Cheese will take this in the air, gets bumped off of it though. Great defensive stand so far.
My man just got bodied, sent away, and well, not sent far enough away apparently. As Stockton are going to continue with their offense. This is how Northwood started turning the series around as well. They started getting a really good midfield presence that got UCF uncomfortable, forced them into defensive save after defensive save after defensive save, until eventually they did not make that save, and they found themselves that goal that could really win them the series, or I guess 6 technically in game number 5. But game number 4 was a lot closer of a game there. It was 2-1 as Northwood barely eked it out. And speaking of barely eking it out here, with 90 seconds left on the clock, this is what we like to call that golden goal scenario, where a single goal could be the separating factor. And for UCF, they find it here. They find the end of the series and find themselves a rematch against Northwood.
And I really like what Stockton's trying to do. You see Drip is just chasing these defenders, trying to get them out of the picture to open up an offensive attack from the teammates, but cannot find the connection to be able to allow that passing lane to open up. But I do respect the head-hunting effort as they're trying to find a way to break this tie. Gonna hit 60 seconds to play, and they're still in it.
Oh, but it does look a little bit nervous there. Misses off the backboard are uncharacteristic, to say the least, out of UCF. But this is a little bit more standard. Them charging into offense with a little bit of authority is what we want to see, although I don't think Luke was hoping for that touch there. As for though, what a beat! What a bump! It's not a target, though! Again! Another golden opportunity from UCF will turn to bronze!
They just can't quite get that last touch they need to put the ball across the line. Instead, we had 35 to play, still scoreless, and looking for an angle, good pass across the Bussy, but does not follow through as the defender gets their first pitch. Now to take it in the air, gets the challenge, though will be lost possession temporarily speaking. Luke trying to get this one, keep it in play. Instead, we see this ball floating neutral, midair. Watch off the backboard, can't find anything. These defenses just constantly challenging and not letting anything go.
Oh, this is so tense. You can feel it in the air. You can cut it with a knife. And, well, you can also read what is on the board right now. 5 seconds left, and if we find a goal now, it will surely send UCF to the upper bracket again, or it'll send Stockton into game number 5. And, oh, boy, Bussy with time and space in the air. You don't want to see that, but it will not be enough. We head to yet another overtime. Game number 4. This could determine it all.
You said we're not good at counting, which is great because that was 4 zeros across the board. There were zeros on the clock, zeros on the scoreboard, which is super easy for us as they almost get the first goal under 10 seconds, but they cannot get that last bounce to go through, and Stockton is trying to fight to get to game number 5.
I can't even blame them for missing shots like that. These are exquisite shots that are so difficult to try and nail, and that's kind of what it takes right now. The defenses on both sides, while they do feel a little bit disjointed and chaotic, it is hard to get past. Unless you've got a stellar shot that just shocks everybody on the pitch, it will not be enough. And 30 seconds into this one, we have found nothing to be enough here. As for you'll find a 50-50 out Bass's final third, but Fitz is going to have to clear this one out. He will do that, but again, the midfield presence out of Stockton just a bit too strong as we go 45 seconds into this one, and it so far has not left this UCF half. It'll leave for about a quarter of a second, but it'll get sent right back. But, Luke on Marks. I don't know what's happening here. Double commit. Top G's will make it, but you can see UCF, they're starting to put the pressure against Stockton, and while Stockton have a good offense, their defense needs to stand up when it counts. Bussy will make the save, and the dagger! They plunge it in and find themselves revenge. They will have a date with Destiny and Northwood in the grand finals.
That last defensive stand right there, just the double stop. Both of them trying to get the ball out of that side of the field, but just the double stop to hold on to the possession, maintain it in air, get the bump off, get the pass, and just setting up the shot on. Holy, what a setup to put yourselves ahead to take the series and go back to the top side.
I got to give credit here. It is not just the recovery at a UCF, it's the way that they do it. Last time when the pressure went against them, they crumbled underneath it, but as you can see here from the replays brought to you by Microsoft and CDW, they did not crumble under the pressure this time. They found themselves that fire, that ignition underneath them, and they really used that to their advantage. The pressure that they felt on defense was not enough to overcome them, as Stockton, try as they may, cannot find that goal, and a quick counterattack sends it the other way. Incredible stuff on both sides, and as you can see from the replays, the goals, they were a flurry on either end.
Just being able to capitalize on these small mistakes. We saw a ton of double commits on the defensive side, and that was where these offenses were really able to break through and get themselves in a position to put that ball in the back of the net. And game one, 5-1 scoreline, we started to see that offense really cool down and the defense step up as this series progressed. We talk about something that's not going to show up on the scoreboard is what Asura did in that final possession. The double stand on the wall, it's not going to be there. You're not going to get any points other than just getting the touch on the ball and then setting your teammate up. That was just such a great position to put yourself in to make sure you're walking away with that dub.
And that's what they do. UCF get it done. They could not the first time, but they did the second time. But can they the third? Listen, they've got themselves a chance. Last time they were a game away from taking down the #1 seed here, the undisputed #1 seeds here. Can they do it this time? I'd like to think so, but there are no guarantees. That is why Rocket League is such an entertaining game. And well, let's see if the desk also agrees with us.
I do think it is a quite entertaining game, and I think these fine fellows here agree with me. Do you not?
You guys know my bias. You guys can go. You guys can answer.
It's a simple game when you look at it, but when you start to play or watch players of this level, or even the pro scene play, which some of these are players in the pro scene, you quickly find out that such a simple game is such a complicated game.
I see math brain just boop, boop, boop.
When this
the
guy's
geometry.
drawing, when he's drawing over there, I see it.
I don't understand how you calculate geometry that fast.
Right.
It's all instinctual.
Literally, because
yeah, it may be instinct, but it's happening. The calculations are in there.
I mean, some of these guys have 10,000 plus hours. It's just after a certain point, it just becomes natural.
Top Cheese has got like 3,000 hours on Switch, I think Bass was telling me. It's like his favorite player arc story. Just started out on Switch, like 3,000 hours on the Nintendo Switch, and then swaps to PC and instantly is an all-star on a top team with Stockton, and I think like in the eyes of the pro scene, but Stockton, though, they do fall.
We kept talking over you, Fawn. Did you have...
Oh, no. The only thing it was that I was going to bring up was that's the first time I've ever heard centrifugal force used by Lawler outside of a classroom. That's the only time it is I've actually ever heard that. But yeah, it's super awesome, and I definitely agree with Ron Burgundy here. It's overall the entire fact of just knowing that it is a very simple game, and looking at this between the correlations between Smash, between Overwatch, between Valorant, understanding that you can see adaptation physically because the game itself is simple visually is really, really cool.
Yeah, back to the actual match itself. I think there's some really cool things between Stockton and UCF to really point out.
But you should tell me them
after. Are we going to talk to Luke?
This beautiful interview.
Are we talking to Luke?
I'm not sure. We'll find out. Let's go to the interview. Hi, Jackie.
Okay.
Hi, UCF is victorious. I am with Luke. Tell me how you're feeling. You are going to the grand finals. You did tell me that this shrunk in the wash, though, and that's why you're not wearing it right now.
Yeah, it's a little tight and a little annoying to play with, but I got a rep, UCF all day. But
I love the shades, and we'll try to do something about the jersey. But talk to me about going to the grand final.
it's definitely exciting. We came in here with our sub. We were kind of hoping to get as far as we could, and now, we're in the grand finals, making it all the way to fight Northwood again.
And fabulous job in this series. It definitely seemed like a collective effort from your team. Talk to me about your team's chemistry.
Yeah, so like I said, we don't usually play with Bits, but Bits been showing up on land. Let's go, Bits. But he's been doing great, even though he's not our starter player, but he's been shining. So is as with those jumpers, always doing well. And then just me, here to kind of finish off the team,
Okay, love it. And Northwood is next, a rematch. Y'all getting revenge?
Of course, we got to give it our all the way.
Okay, and anything you want to say to Mom?
Yeah, definitely. I can't be at home because we're here, but I definitely love you, Mom. I don't know if you're watching or not. I sent her the link, but who knows if she's watching. You might be doing her Mother's Day things, But love you very much, and I wish you could be here to watch.
Aw, Luke, congratulations again to you and your team. And I want to say happy Mother's Day to my mom and all the other moms out there. Thank you for believing in me and being fantastic. I miss you. Back to the desk. Now I'm crying.
The love for the moms, and also love from Luke to Bits. Really giving credit there. What do you guys think of that?
Yeah, I think the best way to put it is the way it started off. I mean, you're talking, I said, hey, Bits is reliable. He's this guy that's just been able to step up for him. And we talked this whole weekend about, hey, it is the whole any given Sunday type of situation. We got a 7 seed versus a 3 seed. But the level of comfort that you're seeing out of both Esfera and Luke, and then Bits, when he comes in and he's also that reliable, he's the one hitting the shots right at the very beginning. And then it's paired by the other ones. You could just see, it felt that Stockton never really found a form. It always felt like they were feeling kind of off. Eventually, they do bring it back. They get a game, and it gets a little bit more competitive. But throughout the whole thing, all smiles from UCF.
Yeah.
Cool, calm, collected, having a good time. I mean, you see the energy of Luke in the interview. It seems like they're in a really good spot.
I think this really shines a light on the fact that they're playing with a sub. I mean, they just said Bits is their sub. Bits is shining out there. Doesn't look like a sub. So the ability to not just have someone that has that capability of popping off as a sub, but bringing them in, having that chemistry with them. Another thing we talked about this weekend is having that chemistry inside and outside the game. And when you are able to give those kinds of reps in the regular season or in some of these minor events to your sub, and you can build that chemistry in and out of the game, and then you can bring them to a LAN event like this, even no matter what seed you are, they're the 7th, you could be a higher seed, you're still in that same situation with a sub. And now they're making it to the grand finals with them. So they're playing really well despite I wouldn't even call it a handicap coming in because they're playing well with them.
And they will go to the grand finals to rematch against Northwood, who just beat them they just played them. So we were talking about hopefully they're a little mad. Hopefully they're getting a little reset. What do you think the nerves are like going into the grand final?
I mean, there's a lot of banter between some of the players on those teams. So I know Northwood's looking forward to probably playing UCF, getting Esfera a little bit of love as well. So unfortunate for Stockton, man. We talk about how they're the 3rd seed. The top teams always escape them, and it seems to be just like whatever the top teams are. They will always find themselves in top 3, but never able to beat the 1-2, no matter who it is. Even if it is UCF pushing themselves as LAN team into that with a sub. It's been fantastic to see the ride, but I'm ready to watch it run back. It's going to be a little bit different in this grand final. It's a best of 7 now instead of a best of 5, and Northwood does start with a 1-game advantage. So it's going to be an uphill battle, but if they keep doing what they're doing, they should be fine.
I did want to give credit to Stockton coming back in Game 3 with a win after 2 convincing wins from University of Central Florida. Definitely not a stomp that we saw.
No, it's good to see some resilience. I do feel that some of the benefits that UCF does have, like you talk about, hey, we already got to, we're dropping down, but we've got that confidence. We're warmed up, we're ready to go. Not the case for Stockton, I felt like. Stockton did start a little bit slow. We saw them really get punished early on, but as we saw, I think it was drip. I think Trevor had a phenomenal call. Saying to respect the drip. That was a nasty shot that was about to go in, but he has a inverted backboard save that pinches out, and it's that keeps him in the game. It keeps him alive. So there's big moments and stuff that Stockton should definitely be proud of, but UCF too much, showing the offense.
Yeah. We saw players like Bits and Luke shining. Any other players that we want to call out, either on Central Florida or as they go back up against Northwood? Any cool matchups that we should keep an eye out for?
Buddy and Asfera.
Buddy and Asfera will be a fun head-to-head bump.
Yeah, that trash talk outside of it, I think that'll correlate inside the game because you said it, they're at land, they want to go at each other, and Buddy wanted UCF because Buddy wants to be like, I beat you twice in person. There are no excuses. I'm better than you, right?
Is that the kind of trash talk we're talking about? You guys have been alluding to it.
If you have not seen like Collegiate Rocket League, those boys, it's nothing but banter on the broadcast. It's absolutely fantastic. Like the interviews, usually we have to like pull them away and be like, okay, guys, like we gotta.
It's like UFC kind of weigh-ins.
It's good.
Yeah,
it's good.
All right.
I think
Jackie's
it's
keeping him polite down
I think it's Moose who is a huge fan of the UFC, so maybe there's some like origins there. He's like learning, taking notes. Like he actually doesn't even, he doesn't even care about the fights themselves. He's just like, all right, I gotta write down banter. Like, how do I do this?
He watches the weigh-ins more than they watch the actual fights. Yeah.
You never know.
I did cut you off because we went to the interview. Were there any highlights or other big impressions that you wanted to share from that last match?
I think primarily just as an overall UCF confidence, or UCF. Not UFC. UCF, I think confidence primarily. I think Luke is really settling into his own. While the power rankings do have them as 7th, I think if they do, even with the full roster, even with Bits, I think that's a lot of confidence going into. I mean, they talked about how all these teams are going to be playing in the collegiate major here and the grand finals, the national championship in Dallas in just a month or two. So a team that, while not the heaviest seed, does have a lot of confidence coming in here, showing a top 2 performance. And LAN experience. It makes a huge difference in those events when you say, hey, been there, done that, and people like Luke and Esfer can definitely hold their head, as well as Bits. That's a really solid backup.
Let's talk about seeding, because we talked about how the seeds are a little bit nebulous, right? And we've talked about, the casters, we've been saying, University of Central Florida shouldn't even be here at this point as the 7th seed. Do they deserve a higher seed?
I think it's in consideration because we do see only online performances, and they have struggled online. I think when you have some of these players that have the comfort of their own home, you know, they're just feeling it. It felt like communication was probably a little bit low from Stockton at some points, and that can come from the LAN nerves and just not getting into a groove. But yeah, I do think there's consideration for UCF where, yeah, online performance, you do get outclassed by some of the players, but when we're talking on LAN, like, they're confident. They're very confident in their play. They look super collected, and it makes a difference.
They just have a bravado about themselves, you know. But I'm going to throw Bass under the bus, but don't worry. I'm the captain of the Bass fan club. You know, I was doing all my homework before the event, and he sent me a write-up that he did, and UCF was not in the teams that he gave me like a paragraph about. He gave me a paragraph about like 7 or 8 teams, and at the bottom it said, all the other teams don't matter.
Oh.
And UCF was one of them. But Bass is a world-class talent, so don't harp on him because I'll come after you. I'm Bass's captain of the fan club. So
well,
watch out.
Either way, these teams definitely have a bright future one way or another. And you know what? Speaking of futures, let's talk about our sponsor, Futures First Gaming. Futures First Gaming exists at the crossroads of esports and education, where they work around the clock to bring STEM opportunities to Black and brown youth. With programs recently featured in the Washington Post and USA Today, FFG has set their sights on turning Delaware into a mecca for esports. Check out their upcoming Girls Who Game event by scanning the QR code. And don't go anywhere else, because we will be right back with the Rocket League Grand Finals.